Welcome back everyone, DestinysJesus here. In this video I'm looking at how to WQ like JUR3KY. In the most recent solo cash script, the highest elims by far. As you all guys all know, Reason's in the same WQ and JUR3KY had 10 more elims than him, and he's basically just hitting the key throughout all of his games. Some really good games in here. We're looking at a bunch of strategies that he's doing in solos, and also some useful things that you guys can do for JUR, since obviously JUR3KY is the reigning JUR FNCS champion after winning with Queasy and JUR3KY last season as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at how he's able to perform and get so many kills throughout the early and mid game, and also some useful end game strategies that you guys can implement into your own gameplay as well. Let's get straight into this. So one thing that JUR3KY does a lot is always trying to place ramps in people's boxes from a distance as he breaks the walls. You can see his other player's going to go ahead and counter peek. So what JUR3KY does at the same time while he's counter peeking is get that ramp in. If he gets the timing on that a little bit earlier, he won't take any damage at all, especially because the guy's doing a top right hand peek. And then he's able to go for the wall place while the guy's wall is still 1 HP. So he goes to the wall place instantly, gets the right hand peek, and he moves around the cone perfectly. This is a really good movement to make sure that he doesn't take any damage. Just swing behind the cone, swing to his right hand side as always. And as you can see here, because JUR3KY's swinging to his right, he's going into the guy's character model, and it makes it really awkward for him to hit a single shot on JUR3KY as he jumps in box. One thing that's really underrated when it comes to fighting in solos, and this also works really well for trios, is just being a little bit more patient with how you go for angles. Instead of forcing the other opponent into taking a shot on you by basically going for a wall replacement and trading with them, oftentimes just waiting for a nice angle to appear or waiting for them to counter peek you and then getting a higher damage shot off works really well. So you can see here JUR3KY's playing this fight really slow and patient. He knows the other guy he's been fighting for a while is a little bit shambles, and he's going to try to interrupt him as a heal. So this guy at the moment, as you can see, has heals. He could just box up and use them, but obviously he's not going to be able to do that when JUR3KY keeps WQing. So JUR3KY knows this, and he's going to act a lot more patient as the fight progresses. So you can see he's able to finally drop down, get that shot in there, goes for some kind of edits on him, but fails those. And then as he drops down onto the wall here, you're going to see exactly why this patience is so useful. So as he goes up and levels up towards this guy, the other player obviously wants to go for some kind of counter damage. There's no chance he can get minis and bigs off with another player WQing towards him. So JUR3KY knows this. He's just going to play extremely slow and patient, as you can see. Waits for the guy to make the mistake, waits for the guy to go for a rebox or to go for an edit play on JUR3KY, and he actually gets a really free kill on just a player editing down him. It's not a bad player, it's just very simple fight psychology, knowing that the opponent who is good is going to try to go for some counter damage before healing, and you can predict that, and you can read that, and then you can get a really easy elimination without wasting too much in the fight at all. This is really nice refresh play that you can do in solos and trios if you're any like 4 for 50-50 zone. Also works in moving zones as well. Whenever you realise that somebody's above you and they're on a cone like this, try to take the floor just like JUR3KY did there. And then what you're going to go ahead and do is, instead of placing a cone in the box, or instead of trying to place anything like that, just go ahead and place the stair sideways in their box, just like this. So look to which side of the box this player is on. So for JUR3KY, he's on towards the left. So JUR3KY's going to look towards the left-hand side to place the stair in phased, and that means that the player is basically completely forced into an angel, and JUR3KY has this half wall here where he gets a really easy shot and a really easy kill. So one thing really underrated when it comes to fighting is understanding how piece control isn't necessarily the most important thing. If you can hit your shot and you understand your angles and how you can get an advantage by creating angles, you can have a lot better time than trying to piece control absolutely everybody. So you can see here in this fight over at Sweaty Sands, JUR3KY's going to go ahead and actually get coned, and this guy goes for a right angle peek on him. You can see here, he does a peek, gets a little bit of damage, but as soon as he does his next angle, JUR3KY understands that if he's got good movement like he does here, he just goes ahead and jumps straight into the box just like that. He's going to be able to catch the guy off guard, and he gets an insane amount of damage just with one nice shot. And next bit of good movement that he does here, understanding that the guy is going to be trying to hold him to this full box, he's probably likely to die if he just stays in there. So what he does is, as he breaks this, he jumps, as you can see, as soon as he breaks the stair, jumps out of the way of the guy's shot into the left-hand peak and catches him off guard. The other player very easily could have won that fight if they just took a little bit more time, but JUR3KY understood his angles really well and was able to catch him off guard. So in this next fight, you're going to see the power of just having patience as you approach someone. This other player has a chug cannon, which I know a lot of you guys struggle with fighting with when it comes to tournaments. So you can see here, as he drops on the wall, he does a very simple setup. It's not really the best setup, but the one thing that works with the setup is the fact he just waits for the pump shot. You can see that other player is obviously going to go ahead and edit. He's already got his blueprint menu out. So JUR3KY just aims straight at his head, gets a free chip damage as he comes in, goes for the piece control for the right peak, just barely misses his shot there. But as he comes out again, he gets piece control, gets this nice extended cone above the guy and to get another bit of damage. And at this point, a lot of players make the mistake of just continuously rushing down the opponent and trying to hop in their box. And obviously with somebody with chug cannon, they're able to heal up continuously. So all you need to do in these kind of situations is just play patiently and see when they go for a bit of counter damage. You can see other player actually gets JUR3KY to fairly low HP, and he's fighting versus attack. So what he's going to go ahead and do is, as he sets off the wall, he's not even bother swinging his pickaxe. He's just going to wait to see what the guy does after he's healed up a little bit, and wait to see if he goes for any kind of counter play. Very simply, the guy just instantly edits. His other player still had a lot of mats that he could have used. He had a chug can, he had minis, but he wants to go for that counter damage, and he knows that JUR3KY's been pressuring the entire time, and that's how he's able to catch him off guard. Just by simply waiting on a setup, other players instinctively going to think, oh, he's going to swing a wall again like he's done the previous few times, and he tries to go for a counter damage, and JUR3KY very simply just gets a nice elim, just like that. This is a really useful play that you can use to close a fight quickly after you've got somebody to low HP. So you can see here, JUR3KY gets a nice piece control on this guy, gets the right hander on the cone, and gets the chip damage as he exits out of the box. And at this point, all you need to go ahead and do is place the cone in their box from below. And at this point, just do a side jump and approach from the wall. If the other player doesn't get out of the box instantly, the instant you place that cone, you're most likely going to kill them really quickly. All you need to go ahead and do is replace the wall, go for a right hand peek like he does here, and it gets a really simple elim. Oftentimes as well, if you're not able to get the wall instantly and the opponent starts reboxing while you're in a situation here, just place walls out to the side and you'll be able to get some prediction piece on them and get a really easy elim as well. I covered this really useful phasing technique in my last video on 2, so unless you guys missed that one, this is how you do it. So as you go ahead and approach from the above of a box, just make sure you've got a ramp flipped or a cone placed like this, and all you need to go ahead and do is position yourself in a position like this, where you're basically halfway between standing up and halfway between crouching. So you can see there, as you go ahead and shoot into the box, ideally if you do it with your AR, so you can instantly kill the guy like JUR3KY does here. Just stand up as you do it, and you can face straight into somebody's box and instantly kill them. And as you can see here, the floor is still placed from this guy, expected to hold JUR3KY out, and he gets straight into the box and gets a really easy elim on somebody who was obviously had a lot of mats and could have just reboxed away. Something really underrated in fights, as you're hunting somebody down, just have good movements, they can't ever get an opportunity to counter trade you or just get a pump to make you stop WKing. So you can see here, as JUR3KY's fighting this other player's obviously not the best, what he's going to go ahead and do is place a cone, crouch behind the cone as you can see here, and it makes it really awkward for this guy. If he had a pump out, you can go for a little bit of damage in return, and that also means JUR3KY can just pop up behind the cone and get a really simple elim. This is a pretty useful play that JUR3KY actually does during the mid game. Instead of taking any risks and trying to go for damage after he's got a surge, and knows it's a pretty stacked game where somebody's likely to come over to this bridge to get metal like this other guy's doing, he just sits in a cone inside of his old base and actually catches somebody off guard who comes in here to farm. So you can see it's a really free chip damage by catching the guy off guard right there. And then as he goes for this, he doesn't want to jump into 50-50 attack. Instead he goes for a bottom right hand wall edit, gets the wall control on the backside so the guy can't escape, and then peeks in like this. Obviously takes a little bit of damage, but he's basically avoiding it, getting into a 50-50, and also just peeks where the other guy can't headshot him with that wall edit since it's a bottom right hander. This is a really useful flopper play that JUR3KY does, and you guys can copy from it as well. Basically tarps along second height as you can see here, gets into a cone to scout out exactly what high ground's doing, realizes there's somewhat shambles building in wood, so he tarps forward in wood, uses his last remaining builds to get into this front side position. Now the small amount of builds, he jumps back into storm. Could have gone for the pump shot here, obviously he was looking for a better shot, but now he's on ultimate height behind this guy. He's able to get a beam from backside and storm as he gets chopped out, gets the crack on him as well, gets even more white damage with these shots here, and at this point he knows he just needs to kill him, and he's probably going to win the game if he does that. It was up one more time, goes for the angel versus the guy in height since he knows he's tagged in white twice and JUR3KY's still 200 HP, gets the refresh, gets all the mats, reverse ramps down, which is obviously a really useful thing to have in your playbook as well. Reverse ramps down, jumps down and gets a massive crack tag, and then gets another elim for the rest of his HP, and at this point he's got a very free game, just needs to hit shots in a second. This is a really nice setup that you can do when you get somebody jumping on your walls, and basically the perfect thing you can do when somebody's acting aggressive on you. Set up in the 2x1, make sure you've got a cone placed in your box like this, and just wait to see what the opponent's movement is going to be, and possibly just hold and edit to see what they're going to do. As you can see here, this guy's going to try and play around this right hand peak to see if JUR3KY actually opens his wall here. When JUR3KY finally opens the wall, he waits for the guy to actually swing over into the bad angle of the wall, where he's straight in the middle, and then he plays around that center cone. And at this point, he's got the guy cracked. The guy's obviously going to try to rebox, gets the prediction piece on the outside, gets the cone slide and the cone slide on top as well, and gets really easy.